Let's spend Wednesday night together, and let's go straight over to my first guest. Always a pleasure to have her on. She was on Monday, Tuesday, and now Wednesday. Welcome back to Talk's international editor, Isabel Oakeshott. Hi, Isabel.
Good evening, Kev. Well, with my international hat on, I tried to endure the entire Trump speech, and I have to say that I was almost defeated. I don't know about you. It was quite a humdinger, wasn't it? And it did go on.
Yeah, it did go on. What was interesting is that I messaged you because I'll tell you what it was. I got into my car to make my way to the station. My wife gave me a lift to the station on my way to talk, on my way to work. I switched it on, and Trump had just begun his speech. And it set off in spectacular style. I was saying to him, I said, this is amazing, this is astonishing. You know, he was ripping Europe to bits, it's to shreds, you know, dismantling our ludicrous net zero policies, our immigration policies, saying Europe is unrecognisable. I go, this is astonishing. Then I got on the train, you know, got out of the car, got to the station, got onto the train, made my way all the way into London, got out of the train, got to the office, and he's still talking. He's still going on. And what happened was, after I think a spectacular 10 minutes or so, he kind of fell off a cliff into this kind of rambling monologue that didn't make a whole lot of sense. So, you know, always unpredictable. It started encouragingly, but finished not so encouragingly. Perhaps I'll have a little chat about that in a little while. But this was a story I wanted to start off with, not one that anyone else has touched today. I'm going to call it an exclusive. At least it's an exclusive on this channel. I just saw this, I'll be honest with you. I saw it in the papers the other day, and I thought, oh my God, this should be given more oxygen, the oxygen of publicity. It is astonishing. So last week, Britain's Chief of Defence Staff, Air Chief Marshal Sir Richard Knighton, warned Keir Starmer, you know, that we needed to step up our military spending double quick. He said there was a £28 billion military funding black hole. So the MOD doesn't appear to have enough money to buy the weapons that this country urgently needs as the threat of war, world war almost, escalates by the day. So this is a very serious emergency. Then it emerges now that last year alone, civil service desk jockeys at the Ministry of Defence, I say at the Ministry of Defence, most of them work from home, were paid £57 million in bonuses. That's despite the threat of world war and despite the fact that the MOD is facing billions of pounds worth of cuts. Taxpayers' money continues to be showered on its staff. And it turns out that the £57 million bonuses add up to £25 million more than they were given in 2019, and since 2019 these lucky people who toil at the MOD have received in total more than £200 million in bonuses. As I was saying in my monologue, my father, God rest his soul, was a lifelong civil servant, and he always said to me, you know, son, if you want job safety, go into the civil service, go into the public sector. He said, but don't expect to get rich. He said, the thing about the civil service, you know, all my mates who work in the private sector, every year I see them getting all their Christmas bonuses. He said, you don't get bonuses in the civil service, but you get good pensions and you get good job security. Well, obviously that's gone by the wayside. I mean, what, in your estimation, Isabel, do you think the Ministry of Defence is doing so brilliantly that its staff deserve £57 million worth of staff bonuses? Some of them, some of the top echelons, the people on huge salaries already, you're talking about £250,000 and more, they receive bonuses, there were several of them last year, worth more than £100,000. I think this is a disgusting, disgraceful use of taxpayers' money, don't you?
Well, I spent a long time studying the state of the British Armed Forces a few years ago, not that long ago, about 5 years ago. And I don't remember ever hearing about this type of bonus system. And I genuinely don't know what those bonuses would be for. I mean, certainly there's very little active service at the moment. Of course, our armed forces go on kind of peacekeeping operations and training operations overseas, but there's not much fighting going on. Again, we're still part of the war on terror, the war on ISIS. That mainly involves the RAF. But it's not like we've got Afghanistan still or other theatres of war. So I don't know. I mean, I imagine possibly some of these bonuses may be to do with procurement projects, perhaps delivering things on time and on budget, although I'm not sure what examples are of those. It just seems quite strange.
I don't think the government should be giving bonuses to civil servants at all. Why do people in the private sector get bonuses? Because their company's done very well, it's made big profits, they've played an important part in that, and if you're responsible for a great year at your financial company or whatever, you get a slice of the action. That's well known. Sometimes you work in the city, your bonuses can be enormous. That's the private sector. The government shouldn't be taking our tax money and handing millions, 57 million, 200 million since 2019, to civil servants over and above their salaries. How do they sort of deduce that people are worth these bonuses? Because, as I say, in the private sector, you get them because your company's had a good year and you've contributed to the company making profits. Well, you don't make profits in the civil service. Why are they doing this? I think this is wrong. I don't think civil servants should get bonuses. Who decides on their bonuses? They're being whoever does decide on this, presumably, it's the Undersecretary of States who run the big departments, defence, health, etc. They're being very generous with our money, aren't they?
Yeah, and if it's happening in the Ministry of Defence, then it will undoubtedly be happening across all Whitehall departments.
Oh, yeah.
I can't see why the MOD would be giving bonuses. So next up, I think we need to find out what bonuses have been awarded in the Home Office. Have there been some bonuses for defying all expectations on performing appallingly on the number of migrant boats stopped? Maybe you get a kind of reverse performance thing because you've been so bad that we're actually going to give you the award for the most crashingly incompetent. I don't know, but I'd love to hear what bonuses are dished out in the worst failing departments.
Well, if they handed out bumper bonuses to people in the Home Office who were incompetent, that would probably bankrupt the country. I mean, you'd have to sort of find billions to pay that lot for their breathtaking incompetence. But yeah, it just strikes me this is very, very wrong. So, folks, did you know this? Did you know that, as Isabel says, probably all civil service departments, but certainly the Ministry of Defence, a civil service department that you pay for with your money, your tax, your hard-earned tax money, that someone, or the MOD at least, is taking it and sharing massive amounts of it among the people who work at the MOD, not because of their salaries, but because of bonuses on top of their salaries. And as I said, you and I both queried, Isabel, what do they do that warrants a bonus? What would you do at the MOD that warrants a bonus? I mean, it wouldn't be turn up for work, because of course very few of them do. They all work from home. This strikes me, folks, as wrong. Let me know what you think. 03444 991 1000.